Garrick Voss froze as the egg quivered beneath his hands. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, smooth and pale like porcelain, yet faintly pulsing with light from within. The hum it emitted was soft, almost musical, vibrating through the air and prickling the hairs on his arms. He didn't know if it was alive or some strange artifact left by the aliens who had colonized this world decades ago. One thing was clear: someone, or something, wanted it. The market square behind him erupted with a chorus of mocking laughter. Garrick turned sharply and saw him. Prince Xyler, tall and cold-eyed, descending from his sleek hover chariot, his guards fanning out like predators. "Is this your masterpiece, farmer?" Xyler's voice carried across the square, dripping with contempt. "An ugly, trembling egg? You expect anyone to be impressed?" Garrick's stomach twisted. The villagers whispered nervously, some forcing smiles, others avoiding his gaze. He clenched the egg tighter, feeling its warmth against his palms. The hatchling inside shifted slightly, letting out a tiny, high-pitched chirp. It was almost pleading. Garrick's chest tightened. Without thinking, he bolted. Guards shouted, shouts bouncing off the metallic walls of the nearby alien stalls. Garrick darted past crates of glowing fruit and vats of steaming liquid, weaving through the crowd. "Stop him!" one of the guards barked, but Garrick was already halfway across the square. The egg hummed louder in his hands, reacting to the panic in his heart. He didn't know if it understood fear, but somehow it did. A sudden tremor ran through the ground and Garrick stumbled. He looked up just in time to see Xyler raise a crystalline staff that crackled with energy. A bolt of shimmering light shot toward him, striking a pile of crates. Wood splintered, and a cascade of sparks rained over the square. Merchants screamed, some diving for cover while others froze, mesmerized by the spectacle. The egg, reacting to the strike, glowed fiercely, bathing Garrick's hands in a warm, golden light. The prince's lips curled in amusement. "Clever little farmer," he said, circling Garrick slowly. "Do you think that egg can save you?" Garrick's mind raced. He knew running in a straight line was suicide. He darted toward a narrow alley between two low-hanging market stalls. The egg's glow bounced off the walls, casting flickering shadows that made him feel like the entire city was watching. As he ran, he noticed something strange. The egg pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, as if it was connected to him. The idea made his stomach tighten in awe and fear. A low growl stopped him mid-step. He spun and saw a creature lurking in the shadows. It was small, covered in translucent scales, with eyes that gleamed like molten gold. It hissed softly, a sound that seemed almost melodic. Garrick froze, unsure if it was friend or threat. The creature tilted its head and hissed again, then melted into the shadows as if it had never been there. Garrick swallowed hard. Whatever this hatchling was, it had drawn attention beyond what he could see. He clutched it closer and ducked into the barn behind his modest home. The wooden door groaned as he slammed it shut, barricading it with a crate. The egg's glow filled the small room, pulsing steadily now, calmer but insistent. He sank to his knees, pressing the warm shell to his chest. A soft sound drew his attention. The hatchling chirped again, almost whispering. Garrick held his breath. Its shell cracked slightly. A flicker of movement inside, a tiny claw, a glint of something alive. He leaned closer. The hatchling's eyes opened, large, shimmering, intelligent. For a brief moment, Garrick felt a jolt of something he hadn't expected: hope. Then the barn door shivered. A shadow fell across the floor. One of Xyler's patrol guards had tracked him. Garrick's heart pounded. He had no weapon, no allies. But he had the hatchling. He hugged it close, ready to do whatever it took to protect this fragile, glowing life. Outside, the sounds of the market square had quieted. Xyler's laughter echoed faintly, distant but menacing. "You can hide, farmer," the voice called, smooth and sharp, "but the world will see what you've failed to protect." Garrick's grip tightened. The hatchling pulsed brighter, and he felt a surge of warmth, a strange energy coursing through him. It wasn't just an egg. It was something extraordinary, something powerful. And if Xyler wanted it, Garrick would not give it up without a fight. A crackling sound from the roof made him freeze. Something heavy shifted above, something living. The barn shuddered as if the hatchling's awakening had triggered a reaction beyond the walls. Garrick glanced upward. Eyes glinting in the dim light stared down at him from the rafters. He realized with a cold shiver, he was not alone. And this was only the beginning. Garrick didn't move. The eyes in the rafters blinked, then vanished. For a moment, silence swallowed the barn. He pressed the hatchling closer to his chest, feeling it pulse against him, warm and insistent. Whatever it was, it trusted him, or depended on him. Either way, Garrick knew he couldn't let it fall into Xyler's hands. Not now. He peeked out a side window. The market square below was empty, but distant footsteps echoed, guard patrols systematically combing the streets. Garrick's mind raced. If they found him here, he'd have no chance against Xyler's elite. He needed a plan and fast. The hatchling stirred. Its glow brightened, bathing the barn in golden light. A soft hum filled the air, vibrating against Garrick's ribs. He realized the creature wasn't just alive, it was aware, reacting to him, perhaps even communicating. A flicker of hope sparked in his chest. Garrick jumped to action. He grabbed old crates, barrels, and farm tools, piling them near the entrance. When a guard appeared at the doorway, a single gentle push of the hatchling's energy sent the pile crashing down. The guard yelped and stumbled back, blinded by the sudden flash of light. Garrick seized the moment, sprinting through a hidden side door into the narrow alleys behind the barn. The streets were winding and unfamiliar, but Garrick knew every turn. The hatchling chirped, guiding him somehow as though it sensed the safest path. Around him, the city hummed with alien energy. Floating lanterns that drifted like tiny suns, walls of translucent metal, and signs and glowing glyphs he couldn't read. The world was strange, but Garrick adapted. He always did. A shadow loomed above. A patrol hovered in the air, scanning the alleys with bright sensors. Garrick ducked behind a stack of crates. The hatchling pressed against him and pulsed once. A low vibration echoed and the sensor beams flickered, momentarily disrupted. Garrick's eyes widened. The creature wasn't just defensive, it could manipulate energy. He risked a glance. The patrol hissed, confused, and moved past, leaving Garrick and the hatchling unharmed, for now. His pulse quickened. One small payoff, but it proved the hatchling was far more than it seemed. He whispered to it, "Stay close. We'll survive this." The next challenge came quickly. Alleyways ended at the edge of a cliff overlooking a glowing river of molten metal, part of the alien city's energy grid. There was no bridge. No path. Only a sheer drop. Garrick froze. His hands tightened on the hatchling. He had no choice but to leap. The hatchling glowed brighter as he climbed to the edge. Then, as if understanding, it emitted a focused burst of energy that wrapped around Garrick like a shield, lifting him slightly and cushioning his jump. He landed on a narrow ledge across the river, panting, heart racing. The hatchling chirped happily and Garrick laughed through his fear. One micro payoff at a time. Behind them, Xyler's voice echoed across the city. "You cannot hide from me, farmer. That egg is mine." Garrick froze. The prince's words weren't just threat, they carried authority, power. Garrick looked at the hatchling. It tilted its tiny head and pulsed, almost as if challenging the alien prince itself. Garrick smiled, adrenaline mixing with awe. He had never seen anything like it. They moved quickly, sticking to shadows, ducking beneath floating platforms and weaving through the alien architecture. But the patrols were closing. He could hear the hum of energy weapons charging in the distance. Garrick realized Xyler wasn't leaving anything to chance. He needed a distraction. He scanned the surroundings. A stack of old machinery loomed nearby, covered in tarps. He whispered to the hatchling, "Do your thing." Tentatively, the creature pulsed again. Sparks danced along the metal, wires snapped, and a small explosion lit the alley with golden fire. Alarms blared, sensors screeched. Patrols scattered to investigate. Garrick took the chance and sprinted forward, leading the hatchling to a safer side street. For the first time since the morning, Garrick allowed himself a small grin. They had survived the initial pursuit. But the hatchling's abilities hinted at more power than he could understand. He realized that if Xyler discovered the full extent, it wouldn't just be him at risk. The hatchling could be weaponized or worse, destroyed. Garrick ducked into a hidden doorway and leaned against the wall, catching his breath. He studied the hatchling. Its scales were iridescent in the dim light, shimmering like liquid glass. Its eyes reflected a strange intelligence, and it chirped softly as if encouraging him. Garrick realized he wasn't just protecting a creature. He was guiding something extraordinary, and that gave him purpose. A faint vibration ran through the floor. Garrick froze. He crouched, clutching the hatchling. Footsteps, more numerous this time, heavier and deliberate. They weren't just patrols. Xyler had sent elite trackers. His heart pounded, but Garrick refused to panic. He whispered to the hatchling, "We face them together. Trust me." Outside, the city seemed to hold its breath. Light flickered across the walls. The alley narrowed, the trackers closing in. The hatchling pulsed rapidly, almost like a warning. Garrick's mind raced. He had survived by wit and courage so far, but now the stakes had escalated. Every decision mattered. One wrong move and both of them would be captured, or worse. A sudden crash echoed from above. A piece of scaffolding tore loose from a floating platform, falling toward the alley. Garrick dove Hatchling in arms. The metal screeched past his head, missing by inches. He scrambled to his feet, heart hammering, and froze as he saw movement at the alley's end. A shadow larger than any patrol blocked the exit. Garrick's jaw tightened. The hatchling glowed fiercely, responding to his fear and determination. He knew what he had to do: face this next threat, whatever it was, and protect the creature at all costs. And then the shadow shifted, revealing a shape he never expected, something far more dangerous than any guard. The shadow shifted again, larger than Garrick had imagined, and stepped into the dim light of the alley. It wasn't a patrol. It was something else entirely, a tall, armored figure with a helmet that shimmered like fractured glass, eyes glowing faintly beneath. Garrick froze. The hatchling stirred in his arms, pulsing nervously, its glow flickering in response to the figure. "You've been clever, human," the voice echoed, metallic but deliberate. "But cleverness alone won't save you." Garrick swallowed hard. He had no weapon, no cover, only the hatchling's warmth pressed against him. And yet, a surge of determination rose in him. Humans survived impossible odds by thinking, by daring. He stepped forward slightly, letting the hatchling pulse freely. "You won't take it," he said, voice steady despite the fear racing through him. The armored figure tilted its head. For a moment, Garrick thought it might strike. Then, unexpectedly, it lowered its arms. "Interesting," it muttered. "You and that creature, you share a bond. I haven't seen that in centuries." Garrick's heart skipped. "Centuries?" he asked. His mind spun. This wasn't just a tracker or elite guard, it was someone, or something, older, far more powerful. The hatchling pulsed, glowing brighter, reacting to the figure. Garrick realized it was sensing more than just physical threats. It could feel intent. The armored figure stepped closer, and the alley trembled slightly underfoot. Garrick's pulse raced. He could see faint energy lines extending from the hatchling, like threads connecting them to him and the stranger. Then came the shock. The hatchling's shell cracked further, a faint fissure spreading across its surface. A flash of light erupted, blinding for a moment, and Garrick stumbled back. When his vision cleared, the hatchling had grown slightly, its tiny limbs now stronger, scales shimmering like molten crystal. Its eyes, once simple, now reflected intelligence and awareness far beyond a newborn creature. Garrick's mouth went dry. He realized the creature wasn't just alive, it was awakening. And its awakening was extraordinary. "You see it too," the armored figure said, stepping back. "It is part of a lost species, a species believed extinct across the galaxy. Your hands cradle something rare, human." Garrick's mind raced. A rare species? Energy powers? Lost across the galaxy? He had always known life could be strange on this frontier planet, but nothing like this. And yet, there was no time to process it. Xyler's forces were still out there, and if they realized what the hatchling truly was, it would be captured or destroyed. The hatchling pulsed again, stronger this time. Golden threads of energy arced around Garrick's arms, and he felt warmth flood through him. It was almost as if the creature was lending him strength, preparing him for what was coming. Garrick inhaled deeply. He had to act fast. Suddenly, the armored figure raised its hand, and a shimmering barrier of light formed around the alley's entrance, blocking escape. Garrick's stomach twisted. "You're going to take it," he said, voice steady but adrenaline pulsing. The figure shook its head slowly. "No. I am here to test you. To see if you are worthy. That creature, it senses morality, courage, and intellect. Most would fail this trial. You might not." Garrick blinked. Trial? His mind spun. Xyler's ridicule, the patrols, the energy blasts, it was all part of some bigger challenge? He glanced at the hatchling. It chirped softly, pulsing in harmony with his heartbeat. Its eyes glimmered with trust. Garrick's decision was instant. He would fight, not with weapons but with strategy, wit, and courage. He had protected it this far. He would not falter now. He backed slowly, leading the hatchling into the center of the alley. Energy lines from the hatchling swirled outward, touching the walls, the ground, even the armored figure. Garrick felt a shock ripple through him, a mixture of power and connection. The hatchling's intelligence was remarkable, almost telepathic. It seemed to understand him completely, responding instantly to his unspoken commands. Then came the first display of raw power. A guard from Xyler's patrol appeared at the alley's mouth, stepping into view. The hatchling's glow flared, arcs of energy shooting toward the intruder. The guard was thrown back, unharmed but stunned, shield flickering under the force. Garrick's jaw tightened. The hatchling wasn't just reactive. It could fight, defend, and strategize in ways he hadn't imagined. The armored figure observed silently, tilting its head. Yes, it murmured. This is why the species was feared. This is why it was hunted. Garrick's mind raced. He had underestimated its potential. Every decision, every move mattered now. The hatchling's energy pulsed faster, almost as if anticipating Xyler's next strike. Garrick clenched his fists. Fear had no place here. Only action, courage, and unity with the hatchling. A sudden vibration underfoot made him freeze. The city hummed as if responding to the hatchling. Sparks of golden energy danced along the walls, twisting and flickering. Garrick realized with a thrill and a chill, the creature was not just powerful, it was alive in a way that could change the world around them. Then a shadow fell across the alley, larger than anything Garrick had faced. Xyler himself appeared, hovering above with an elite force behind him, eyes blazing. His voice carried like thunder. Enough games, farmer. Give me the hatchling. The hatchling pulsed violently, wings forming in a shimmer of molten light, its eyes locking on Garrick. It let out a piercing melodic cry that echoed through the alleys. Garrick felt it in his bones, a call to courage, a call to fight against impossible odds. He clenched the creature close. Then we fight, he whispered. And the alley erupted in light and energy, as two unstoppable forces prepared to collide. The alley shook as Xyler hovered above, his elite guards flanking him in perfect formation. Garrick's heart pounded, but he refused to back down. The hatchling's glow bathed the narrow street in gold, wings flickering into form, scales shimmering like molten crystal. Garrick felt warmth pulse through his chest, a shared rhythm with the creature. Fear was present, but courage surged stronger. Humans survived impossible odds because they refused to yield. Xyler's voice boomed, echoing off the walls. Surrender the hatchling, farmer. It belongs to the galaxy's elite, not some pitiful human. Garrick's grip on the hatchling tightened. No. Not while I live. A pulse of energy shot from the hatchling, sweeping across the ground. Sparks danced along the walls, throwing the elite guards off balance. One cried out as the shields on their armor flickered under the strange power. Garrick's eyes widened. He had never seen energy manifest like this, yet the creature responded instinctively to danger, and to him. Xyler's eyes narrowed. He raised his staff, crackling with violet energy, and fired a beam toward them. Garrick ducked instinctively, but the hatchling reacted first, wrapping its wings around them in a shimmering shield of molten light. The beam struck and shattered against the glowing barrier. Garrick's chest heaved. The hatchling's power was extraordinary, yet he knew this was only the beginning. The guards surged forward, weapons drawn. Garrick scanned the alley for advantage. The walls were uneven, the shadows deep. He could use them. Move with me, he whispered to the hatchling. Together they darted left, ducking into a narrow side passage. The creature pulsed and energy arcs flared from its body, cutting off the guard's line of sight. One guard stumbled, tripping over debris, sparks from his armor fizzing out as the hatchling's pulse disrupted his circuits. Garrick's mind raced. He had no weapons, no reinforcements, only his wits and the hatchling's instinctive abilities. He ducked under a hanging platform, vaulted over a fallen crate and ran. The hatchling's wings unfurled fully, creating a golden glow that illuminated the walls like a torch. The guards tried to surround them, but the alleyways were a maze Garrick knew intimately. Every twist, every turn he led them toward traps he improvised. Falling crates, electrified puddles, dangling cables. Each small success made him feel the thrill of clever human ingenuity, every action with cause and consequence. Then Xyler himself descended. He hovered, staff glowing, eyes blazing with contempt. You dare challenge me? He shouted. The guards faltered under his presence. The hatchling chirped loudly, wings beating fiercely, and Garrick realized something incredible. The creature's energy responded not just defensively, it could manipulate the environment. Sparks leaped from walls, cables arced with electricity, shadows warped into light. Garrick's jaw tightened. They had the power to fight back, but only if they acted together. Xyler fired again. Garrick shouted, now! The hatchling launched a focused pulse of energy that struck Xyler's staff mid-fire, causing a feedback explosion that sent the prince staggering backward. Guards screamed as sparks flew. Garrick lunged, guiding the hatchling toward cover behind a massive machinery stack. Their shared bond made every move instinctive, every dodge, every pulse, every heartbeat synchronized. Xyler roared in fury, charging forward. Garrick's mind worked faster than he had ever imagined possible. He ran a quick mental calculation, combining the hatchling's energy with the alley's structures. "Trust me," he whispered. The hatchling chirped, wings flaring. Together, they sent a pulse along the walls, short-circuiting lights, arcs of energy cascading and creating a blinding barrier between them and Xyler. The prince's armor sizzled under the shockwave. Guards screamed and fell back, shields flickering, thrown into chaos. Garrick felt sweat stream down his face, adrenaline pumping. He pressed the hatchling closer. "Hold on. One more." The hatchling surged, and a brilliant golden beam shot outward, wrapping the alley in molten light. Xyler screamed, shield raised, but the force pushed him back. He struggled, staggering against the walls, clearly unprepared for the creature's true potential. A sudden hush fell. The golden glow faded slightly, leaving Xyler panting, furious, and the guards disoriented. Garrick knelt, chest heaving, hatchling clinging to him. He realized something incredible. The bond they shared had given them a tactical edge, turning raw power into coordinated strategy. Courage, intelligence, and trust had turned an impossible fight into a momentary victory. The alley was quiet now, broken only by Xyler's labored breathing. He looked at Garrick with something Garrick hadn't expected: respect, or at least recognition. "Humans, clever and defiant," Xyler muttered. "Perhaps underestimated." Garrick's pulse raced, but there was no time for relief. The hatchling chirped softly, wings folding, but the glow remained. Its energy had been fully unleashed, revealing only a fraction of what it could do. Garrick realized with a mix of awe and dread that the creature's true potential had yet to awaken completely. Outside, the city seemed to hold its breath. The streets were empty, abandoned by anyone who dared approach. Sparks flickered along the buildings. Xyler and his remaining guards withdrew reluctantly, retreating into the shadows, but his parting words cut through the still air. "This isn't over, human. You've only delayed the inevitable. I will return." Garrick sank to the ground, clutching the hatchling. He panted, heart hammering, mind racing. They had survived impossible odds together, proving human ingenuity, courage, and resilience could shine even against superior alien forces. The hatchling chirped softly, wings folding gently against its back as if reassuring him they were safe, for now. But Garrick knew better. The moment of respite was fleeting. Xyler's retreat meant only one thing: the galaxy's elite now knew of the hatchling's existence. And the next encounter would be far deadlier. He looked at the glowing creature in his arms. Its eyes reflected intelligence, awareness, and trust. They had survived today, but the real battle, the one that would determine their fates, was still ahead. A sudden vibration rippled through the alley floor. Garrick froze, gripping the hatchling tightly. The glow pulsed violently, brighter than ever, as if responding to something far beyond the city. Something massive. Something unseen. And Garrick realized in a cold thrill that this battle, as extraordinary as it had been, was only the beginning. The alley was quiet now, save for the soft hum of the hatchling and Garrick's rapid breathing. Golden light flickered off the walls, casting long shadows. The battle with Xyler and his elite guards was over, for the moment. Garrick sank to his knees, clutching the creature, feeling the warmth of its glow seep into him. He had survived against impossible odds. He had protected something extraordinary. The hatchling chirped softly, wings folding against its back, but its eyes remained alert, scanning the shadows. Garrick traced the patterns of light along its scales, marveling. It was small, fragile, yet full of power, intelligence, and resilience. And it had chosen him. He realized that humans, ordinary, underestimated humans, could rise to challenges far beyond expectation when courage and determination were combined with trust and empathy. Garrick's chest heaved as he thought about the morning. The ridicule, the fear, the relentless pursuit, all of it had led to this moment. The hatchling had awakened, not just as a creature of rare power, but as a reflection of human ingenuity and resilience. Every step he had taken, every choice he had made, had mattered. Cause and effect had shaped their survival. Footsteps approached. Garrick tensed, expecting Xyler's return, but it was different. A figure emerged from the shadows. It was the armored being from before, silent, imposing, yet calm. Its eyes glowed faintly beneath the helmet. Garrick held the hatchling closer. "You have done well," the figure said. "The creature recognizes you as its guardian. Few would have survived the trial so far. You have demonstrated courage, intelligence, and compassion." Garrick's lips parted. "Trial? You mean all of this, Xyler, the patrols?" "It was a test." The figure inclined its head. "Partly. The species is dangerous, powerful, and rare. Those who seek it may destroy it out of fear, greed, or ambition. Only someone capable of true human courage can guide it safely. You have proven worthy. A mixture of pride, relief, and disbelief surged through Garrick. He had always seen himself as a simple farmer, a man of the land. Yet here he was, entrusted with a being that could shape the galaxy's future. His pulse raced, but he forced himself to focus. Survival was only the beginning. The hatchling chirped again, nuzzling against him. Its glow dimmed slightly but remained vibrant. Garrick realized it wasn't just alive. It was learning, understanding, even communicating in ways beyond words. He had expected a fragile, strange creature, but this was a partner, a companion, a being whose trust he had earned through action and courage. Garrick stood slowly, the armored figure observing silently. "What now?" he asked. "If Xyler returns, or worse, someone else comes?" The figure's voice was calm, deliberate. "You continue. You protect it. You learn its abilities, its limits. One day the galaxy will understand that humans, your kind, are capable of incredible feats when guided by courage and morality. The hatchling's potential, and your own, are only beginning to awaken." A sudden vibration ran through the ground. Garrick tensed. He glanced at the hatchling. Its glow flared brightly, more intense than ever. The creature chirped urgently, eyes fixed toward the horizon. Garrick's heart sank and leapt at the same time. Whatever awaited them was vast, far beyond the city and far beyond Xyler. He tightened his grip, determination hardening in his chest. "Then we face it," he said firmly. "Together." The hatchling pulsed in agreement, golden threads of light wrapping around him like a mantle of courage. Every fear, every doubt, every moment of weakness faded in that instant. They were ready. Garrick looked toward the city skyline. The alien structures shimmered in the early light, floating walkways, glowing towers, and distant energy streams painting the sky. The world was vast, full of danger, but full of opportunity. He realized humans had always survived by daring to act, by defying odds, by trusting themselves and each other. He was not alone. He had the hatchling, and together they were unstoppable. A soft chirp drew his gaze downward. The hatchling's energy pulsed in a steady rhythm. Garrick smiled faintly. They had survived Xyler. They had survived impossible odds. But this was only the beginning. The galaxy was full of challenges, mysteries, and threats. And he, a simple human farmer, had just stepped into a destiny far greater than he could have imagined. The armored figure stepped back into the shadows. "I will watch," it said. "But the next trial will be larger, more dangerous. Prepare yourself. The galaxy will test both of you in ways you cannot yet imagine." And with that, it vanished, leaving Garrick alone with the hatchling, golden light reflecting in his eyes. Garrick took a deep breath. His hands were steady. His mind was clear. And for the first time he understood the truth of what it meant to be human, to face impossible odds, to protect what matters, to rise beyond ridicule and fear, and to shine. As he stepped from the alley into the streets, the hatchling nestled against him, pulsing gently. He glanced toward the horizon. A faint ripple of energy shimmered across the distant towers. Something massive, something alive, something waiting, was coming. Garrick smiled, a spark of excitement mingling with determination. "Then let them come," he said. "We're ready." And with that, the first chapter of their journey ended, leaving the galaxy on the cusp of a story far larger, far more dangerous, and far more extraordinary than anyone could have imagined.